So many people ask how to deal with backstab fishes, so this portrait is going to be about backstab fishes. How to kind of deal with the fishes, how to play aggressive with fishes. You don't have to sit there on the sidelines being passive. You can actually approach them, you can try and get the backstab yourself. You can mix it up and still retain aggression while fighting other fishes. And I'm using an ultra, so this should kind of give you some motivation and help towards finding how you like to play. Let's get into it. So these are not duels, these are invasions. And we have another fish. So a fish v fish. You'd think both would just cancel each other out and not play aggressive. But the majority of fish like playing aggressive, and that's what they go for. They like throwing out reeds and committing to their reeds while you commit to yours. It's a bit like rock, paper, scissors, but a little bit more advanced. Because once a fish knows how to grab the backstab, the other fish also knows how to grab that backstab, so they kind of know the counter as well. And then there's the mix-up. Is this going to be a feint? Is this going to be an actual grab? If it's an actual grab, then you got to have a cancel for it. Or if it's a feint and you go for the cancel and then they cancel and go for a backstab, it gets pretty confusing, but it's hella fun once you get the basics down and kind of get into it yourself. So I got backstabbed there. That was my mistake. I accidentally threw out a second R1. What I meant to do was turn around and press R1 to cancel out the first hit, so it's not a combo, and actually grab his back. But instead, I got backstabbed. So what are the basics of avoiding getting backstabbed? Throw out one R1 with an ultra instead of two. That'll get you a good feel of how experienced the fish is. Walk away most of the time, depending on the latency when healing. This will also avoid you getting backstabbed. Really low latency though, they can just walk up and backstab you while you're healing, regardless of what kind of backstab you're going for. So this exchange here is really interesting. There's a lot of backstab attempts, but to the naked eye you wouldn't really suspect them. So I just get behind him and go for the backstab. He dips out safely. It could have been the bad grab box. He tries a reverse roll, just in case I did a running R1. He then attacks and buffers his dagger to do a ravioli. I throw an R1. He knows it's not safe to go for the BS. He rolls back in expecting a second R1. So I then punish his second roll in with my own backstab because he rolled in trying to go for the second R1 swing. Very well played from both of us right here. This guy has excellent healing. He knows exactly when to heal. He'll roll into me, expecting me to like try and punish it and then roll out and get a heal. He knows what's up. We also know each other's weapon range. We also know the distance of rolls, so we know how to space ourselves well enough to where they have to put a little bit more work into their roll BSs, because they're not exactly going to get behind us as much. We're trying to feint each other out here to try and get some interesting kills. I mess up my backstab, he messes up his reverse roll. But that's the thing with like fishes, it's all about experimentation. Some do try and win, like they go a little bit too hard into it or put too much pride into their wins, which is not something I play. I'm only play for the experimentation and to see what I can pull off, not so much about how many wins I got or how many people I've beaten or who I've beaten. So he gets a nice roll catch here. I try and get a turn and burn just in case he went for a buffered running R1. Probably would have broke my poise, but it would have been a decent trade, hitting for around 600 damage I believe. I get a guard break here and a second R1 for 816 damage. That's a nice bit of damage here. Just look at when he heals and how he heals. I could finish him here if I get two R1s. Look at this, he punishes me, that's really well. It's really well played. And then he gets to heal off when I get to heal. So he's playing it really smart, he's being aggressive, he knows what's up. So we take it down into the main arena. So he comes in, I throw out an R2. He rolls away, it's really nice. We get a trade here. I think it was about the same damage there, but I get a nice little punish on his R2 with two well-spaced R1s. Now he wants to heal. pay attention to his healing game, it's really well. He perfectly spaced that heal there. I did a running attack, he knew it wasn't going to hit him. So I'm going to throw in some mix-ups here. I throw in some stomps to kind of throw him off a bit. These stomps are decent, but it's more like just an animation throw off than it is anything else. I get him low again, so I want to go punish. I mess up and go for a stomp expecting him to roll into me and possibly get an R1 from a roll. But he runs off and gets the heal. Very smart choice. Right now we're doing some footsies. And they get a very nice trade at the end there for 1014 damage. GG's, dude. So we're fighting the same guy as before. He switches up to a claymore. I land a nice run in R1 here. His weapon clipped through me, I assume, due to latency. That's why I didn't take the damage. He goes for a pivot there, then decides not to and switches up to 2 R1s, but I get a nice trade here. He has a nice dip to heal up. I don't have the distance to punish him, and he's backing up really well. So this R2 is a bait for a trade, and then I go in for the roll BS instead. I expected my poise to back me up here. I throw out an R1 here, and now things get a little bit weird. Why did he get guard broken? He got guard broken because he didn't expect the second R2. As both fishies, you don't want to throw out 2 R1s with ultras, you only want to throw out 1. So he came in expecting me to roll and try to punish my roll because he didn't expect the second R1. And that's because of commitment, that's because he's locked in his move. And that's how fishies play, they gotta lock in their moves to commit to what they're gonna do. And if your read isn't good enough, you're gonna get punished. So that was a good play on both our ends there. Except my read won out in that one, because he didn't expect the second one, and why would he expect the second one? Us being both fishies, he would expect me to roll away because I didn't want to get backstabbed. But because I seen how far he rolled, he wouldn't have been able to easily walk up and backstab me from that distance. Right now I'm going to focus more on R2s. I know I'm safe with my R2s, I know the right distance where he's not going to get the backstab, I can roll out a lot easier. And he joins in here. He's also trying to get the backstab, but I'm throwing out so many R2s, it's a little bit weird, right? Why would anyone throw out R2s against a fish, for instance? So a lot of mix-ups, a lot of whiffs, and we capitalize on whiffs. That's one of the pros of being a fishy, learning how to capitalize on your mistakes and turn it into a positive. And if you can do that with every mistake, then every mistake's not a negative, it's a positive. So this is another battle of the brains. He pops a healing, he expects a running R1, so he rolls in advance to get that BS. I duke my running R1 into a pivot BS to punish his roll. See, he even pulled out the little dagger there. So it's a lot like rock, paper, scissors, and if you can get in this kind of mindset, fishing is a lot of fun. The hardest part of killing someone is the final hit. And a lot of people use things like daggers, kukris, fire bombs, but I like to get the final hit with a weapon or maybe even a spell, just because it's more like satisfying for me. So I corner him. I pull back on the stick there to bait out an R1 movement, and then he rolls in with a panic and I catch the roll. Again, GG's homie. Alright, so this is about 4 or 3 months old. During one of my very first streams, I encountered another fish. They're rocking a dagger, and we can talk about daggers for a bit. So when I first started fishing, I would rock a dagger because it's got the faster animation, it does good critical damage, and I'll try and rely on the dagger until I got good. And if I just focused on using the dagger, then that's all I could do because I do shit all damage with just the slashes at the level I was using it at, but I did good damage on the backstabs. So that was my introduction, I guess, into learning backstabs. Apart from that, I watched videos from such people like Slack, Ibarbo. We found some guides with my partner that I was practicing with. There was one on MaskedTeamPvP. Yeah, MaskedTeamPvP. And that was on backstabs, but they mainly showed off, I believe, pivots. Yeah, it was pivots, and the inspiration from all these other channels that got me into it myself. And with the dagger, I've kind of leaned away from it unless I want to take care of huge groups really fast. But now it's like I'll just use whatever I've got on me to get the backstabs. If I pull out a dagger, it just means I want to kill them faster. So whenever I see a dagger, I think win. Win, 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 win. When it's not necessarily the whole case, they could still be learning. You know, they want to be rewarded from all the things they're going for. So it's not necessarily they're try-harding for that win, they might be try-harding to get better. But for me, at this point, if I pull out a dagger, it's most certainly because I want to kill this person, like say kill out a phantom, kill out a host, and get that satisfaction from beating said group of people. So we can talk about my playstyle. My playstyle is a little different. A lot of fishers have their own kind of sway to things. How I play is I'll try and match the other opponent. So this sounds pretty normal, but say I run into like a newer player and I'm matching them, so I'll equip a weaker weapon or I'll tone down on the advanced stuff just so they can have some freedom to move around. This isn't me clowning on them, this isn't me making fun of them, this is just me getting more enjoyment out of it and they're also getting enjoyment out of it. This isn't me being selfless, this is just for the pure fun of us both enjoying what we love or what we're currently into at that time. For the majority when it comes to fishing, a lot love experimenting. That's why you see weird things like backstabs, or as I call them, lazy ollies. You see reversed rolls, you see pivots, you see interesting baits, not necessarily the firebomb bait. It's just a bunch of variety and it's all a lot of fun, especially when you see it and when they land it, it's hype as fuck. Like if someone lands attacks on me or certain backstabs, I like it. I get joyous for the majority of the time. Sometimes I won't, just in case the person's a little bit rude to me, then I'll understand like, okay, there's this demeanor here about this person, but for the most, 90% of people I'm gonna enjoy getting these things pulled off on me. Because I consider myself a good player, and these people are landing these attacks on a good player. Even though, let's say, I'm just goofing around, it's still pretty rewarding because I'm also trying stuff out. If we're both sitting there practicing and enjoying our time, why does it matter who wins or loses? Some things people like to say is that when fighting daggers, the damage is just ridiculous. Well, it is ridiculous, but backstabs are pretty easy to avoid. You can run away, you can back up, you can attack once instead of attacking twice. You could even spam attacks, for instance, if timed right. You could throw out some kicks, you could throw out your own baits, lead them in for a backstab, and then counter them with an attack of their backstabbed whiff. So if you watch fishies fight, this is the kind of techniques they pull off. So I'm going to leave you with a clip where me and Slackjaw just goof around and just have a blast trying to backstab each other. Take care everyone and have a good day. Let's go. Oh, he's fat rolling. Alright, 1 second, Slack. I got you. Oh shit. Oh no, Slack. I'm gonna get fucked. I got me to heal. Alright. Let's go again. You won that first round, Slack. That's it. Round 2 escaping. Whoa! Ready for the Slucky? No Slack. What a beast. Ready for this? We healing again? Alright. Oh! I'm sorry. Oh, sick! Alright, good. You grabbed a roll out of it. I didn't want to kill you. Yep. Oh, these sick raviolis. Yeah, let's go, let's go. Final health. GG, Slick. Kill himself.